When DailyPuzzles recently sent me Qiyi's new budget MS line of puzzles, I had initially planned on just making an unboxing on them, but after trying them out, these cubes really deserve a full review. Before I go into each puzzle, here are my overall thoughts. These 5 cubes all together cost only 95 Australian dollars or approximately $60 US at DailyPuzzles. You heard me right, for the price of 1 GAN XS, you can get 5 really solid magnetic cubes. My first thought was that these cubes would be good value, but probably feel cheap and have pretty average performance. But as you've probably guessed by the fact that I'm here telling you about these cubes, my expectations were fully exceeded. Every single one of these MS cubes is, at the very least, good value, and there are a few in my opinion that stand out even more, so let's talk about them. I'll start with the 3x3 because that's probably the cube that most of you want to know more about. Before it was released, a lot of people said really great things about the cube, and they were right, to some extent. Even though it could definitely be a main killer for a lot of you, it's definitely not as premium feeling as top 3x3s, nor does its performance quite match them. So in my opinion, it didn't quite live up to the hype, but it is only 16 Australian or $8 US. It performs very similarly to the Thunderclap version 3, which costs about the same, but the MS 3x3 is a bit more stable in my experience. I still wouldn't consider using this as my main because it locks up a fair bit for me because of its performance, but for cubers looking to get their first magnetic 3x3 without breaking the bank, this is definitely a good value cube. The MS 4x4 was probably the biggest surprise for me. Out of the box, it was alright, it felt very dry and needed to be loosened, but after some solves and lubrication, it is without a doubt the best value 4x4 on the market. It only costs $22.50 Australian or $12 US, and it's very quickly become my main. In my opinion, there are only 2 other 4x4s on the market that are better than it, the L IS GTS 2M and the WRM. For me, this budget 4x4 is way better than Qiyi's Volk 4 in pretty much every way. Maybe it doesn't feel quite as premium, but when it's properly lubed, I would definitely believe you if you told me it was a flagship 4x4. Following a similar trend to its brothers and sisters, the 5x5 is also really good. Obviously, being a magnetic 5x5 that costs around 27 Australian dollars or $15 US, it does start to feel slightly cheaper than the others. But a bit of lube takes away that plasticky feel and it's super nice to turn. The performance of the 5x5 is super solid and probably the most impressive of the whole bundle. Its turning is light and fast and I can get pretty much my average times on it. So if you want to get your first magnetic 5x5 without spending too much, this is definitely the best option out there. Next is the MS 2x2. And I know I've said this for every cube so far, but the 2x2 is also pretty great. It has solid performance, especially for only 12.5 Australian dollars or $7 US. I really like the feeling of it, and the best way I can describe it is it's like the GAN 251 and the Volk 2 had a slightly cheaper baby, if that makes any sense. Most importantly, it performs really well in solves, and it's definitely one of the best budget 2x2s in my opinion, alongside the MGC. Last and possibly least is the Pyraminx, which I don't have as much to say about because I don't really practice Pyraminx. Compared to the other cubes in the bundle, the MS Pyraminx is definitely the most expensive cube in its own category, considering it's only $1 or $2 cheaper than other top Pyraminxes. And even though its performance definitely doesn't match the Qiyi Bell or the Moyu Pyraminx, it's really hard to call it a budget cube. It won't become my main personally over the X-Men Bell just because it doesn't turn that great and the tips sort of twist everywhere when I really don't want them to. It's still a pretty good Pyraminx, but in my opinion, it's definitely the worst value of the bunch, and I would recommend you spend an extra couple of dollars to get the X-Men Bell. So that's all I have to say about the MS puzzles from Qiyi. Amazing value, and I really can't recommend them enough. If you want to purchase the MS line or any other cube you can think of, you can head over to dailypuzzles.com.au, and if you use my discount code TNLCubing, you can save 10% off and get this whole bundle for 85 Australian dollars or $55 US. Take it from me, 85 bucks for 5 super solid magnetic cubes. Now that's value. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can subscribe, give it a like, and if you want to support me for a small amount of money and get some really awesome perks in return, including your name at the end of my videos like these amazing people on screen, go check out the join button next to subscribe. I hope you guys have a great day and I'll see you very soon.